podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and today's episode is going to nourish your soul as much as it sparks your curiosity. We are diving into the world of holistic healing, specifically how ancient Tibetan medicine and phytotherapy therapy can help us heal the mind, body, and spirit. Listeners, our guest today is Trinn Hatch. He is the co creator of the Jampha Tibetan Pharmacy. And Trinn's story is nothing short of inspiring and transformative. After enduring a life altering health crisis that left him with both physical disability and PTSD, he found his path to healing through ancient traditions like Tibetan Sowa Rigpa and Ayurveda. And now he channels that hard earned wisdom into healing others with a compassionate heart, deep knowledge of botanicals and vibrational medicine, and personalized consultations through heal.me. So, whether you are deep into your wellness journey or you are just beginning to explore alternatives to conventional medicine, this conversation is for you. So, Trent, welcome to the show, and it is an extreme honor to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, so Trent, before we talk about the wonders of Tibetan medicine philosophy as well, let's talk about your journey. It is such a powerful testament to resilience and transformation. So, if it's okay, can you take us back to that moment where your healing journey began? And what exactly led you to exploring Tibetan medicine in particular?
Yeah, my journey really started with personal tragedy. Before I took up doing what I'm doing now, I owned a security company and operated in Virginia and Washington D.C. and Maryland, and protected the royal families and their children, and it was at the top of my game. And everything that I did was related to my physical body. And during that time, I was assaulted, and my leg was broken at the ankle and shattered. Um, I almost had to have it amputated a few times. I ended up in external fixation with big steel rods sticking out of my leg, holding the bones in place so that they could heal for about 3 months. And for 5 years after that, I was in misery. The doctors told me when they saved my leg that they wanted to take it because I'd be in pain for the rest of my life and it's no way to live. And my mother at the time was my next of kin. She didn't agree with that, and so they kept it. But what ended up happening was me ended up with a full disability and taking 17 medications every day. I was, addicted to painkillers. I couldn't function without them. And every time I went to a doctor, I'd keep getting a new medication and then a new side effect. And it just seemed like a never ending revolving door and slippery slope. And so really in a moment of desperation when I, hit rock bottom and didn't want to live like that anymore, I asked the universe for help. And within a few weeks, I was led to hemp and to CBD and started to learn about cannabinoids and terpenes. And that led me into a path of being able to get myself off of all of my medications with things that I developed myself. But I still had to take a lot of those formulas that I created to offset the symptoms. I wasn't experiencing healing on a deeper level where it would continue and not have to take something. And I desperately wanted to break free from that revolving door. And so I started to look at botanicals and minerals and realized that there was a whole ocean of healing out there that I wasn't tapping into. And I signed up to go and learn herbology. And one of my family members said, "Son, you're going to spend 6 years in school. Um, you sure you want to do that? You could go out and find somebody who already has mastered this and understands this part." And I begrudgingly didn't really want to do that. I wanted to do it myself, but I listened to his counsel. And again, I went to the universe and asked for help. I said, if there's someone out there who understands herbology and how to heal with herbs and minerals on an advanced level, that has compassion and loving kindness and wants to help humanity, then please bring them into my path so that we can work together. And it was almost 2 weeks to the day again. I got a LinkedIn message from Amchi Tubtan Lekshi, who is a lineage holder of Tibetan medicine and one of the first Westerners ever given lineage back in the 1970s by the Dalai Lama to Sowa Rigpa. And he contacted and said, "Hey, I see what you're doing with terpenes. You're onto something here. I'd like to come and share with you what I've been learning about terpenes for the last 50 years." And that began a conversation between us that really hasn't ended until this day. We've talked almost every day. And the long story short is we brought what I learned and his wisdom and knowledge over 50 years of formulation and 2,500 years of lineage into one expression, which has become Jampha Tibetan Pharmacy.
Wow. What a journey, Trent. What a journey. First of all, your life can be unpredictable. And then that ordeal of having 17 medications every day and then disability. So um, when you were going through all the conventional, um, you know, processes and applications and everything, what was your mindset like? I mean, were you completely into that feeling that okay, I've given up. This is what it is. I mean, did you accept it or did you kind of clarified your mind and then you decided, okay, let me figure this out myself? Of course, your mother also didn't agree with the conventional setup. So, what exactly was your mindset into?
I mean, my mindset when I was in pain and my ankle was all messed up was really desperation. I'd tried everything that I'd been taught was a path to getting better, and it felt like everything I was doing was only making things more complicated and worse. And I wasn't feeling any benefits really, other than being able to just continue with the life that I was living. And my mindset changed when I decided that I wasn't going to live like that anymore. That either I was going to go out or I was going to go out fighting, and I decided to go out fighting. And really, that fighting was for my own health. And what I said when I went out and prayed and asked the universe for help was, if you show me a path to healing, I got nothing to do for the rest of my life. I'll spend it helping others find that same path or their path, whatever it takes. And I think that commitment on my side was a big catalyst for the universe answering in the way that it did. And so, this expression of medicine has really become an extension of that promise, and wonderfully blessed to have come across Amchi, for him to have found us. And the wisdom that he brings to creating this medicine is unlike anything I've found on the planet, and I searched for a long time.
Exactly. I think that LinkedIn message was definitely the universe giving you the signal.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely trend. That is really, really inspiring. I guess for all the entrepreneurs and business owners out there, as well as personally, for any person who may be going through an adversity physically or mentally, definitely it's really, really inspiring. Okay, now let's talk about Tibetan medicine, of course. So, especially Sowa Rigpa, it is still unfamiliar to many in the West per se, but I'm also not familiar. I'll be very, very frank. So, can you help us understand what makes this system of healing unique, and how does phytotherapy fit into this?
Yeah, phytotherapy is a modern name for an ancient science. It's the science of bringing natural components together in a synergistic formula that communicates directly with our body's biochemistry, which means healing on a level where there's communication going both ways. And so, phytotherapy is based on the understanding that it's not just the physical that needs to be addressed for healing, but the mind, the body, and the spirit all need to be supported. Sowa Rigpa is a really unique form of medicine. It's 2,560 years of lineage. It's very similar to Ayurveda. Ayurveda and Tibetan Sowa Rigpa really developed in parallel lanes to each other.
Yeah.
Um, Sowa Rigpa really came into form in the 8th century when Yutho, who was really the father of Tibetan medicine, called a conference. He called in healers from Crete and from all different countries, from India, and brought the best medical minds at that time together and began to go through their information, their wisdom, and their knowledge. And he compiled what he felt was the most beneficial into of all of these traditions and ethnobotanical pharmacological traditions into one expression, which has become Surika. And so you see elements of Chinese medicine, of Ayurveda, of Greek medicine, of medicine from Crete, that have really come into this really unique and pure expression. Tibetan medicine's never been commercialized. They're always been very cautious to keep it protected from profiteering, and that's something we are very aware of. And so this expression really for the West has been 2,500 years in the making, and it's only now at this time that cultivation areas for the botanicals that we use are sufficiently stocked that we can keep up with demand without depleting the natural resources. And that's really been a huge concern all along with expanding the ability for people to access this medicine.
Mm. Yeah, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And also what I know is, and I find it absolutely fascinating, is how Tibetan medicine it views disease as disharmony. I mean, it's almost poetic, but yet so practical when we think of how stress or unresolved trauma can manifest physically.
Yeah, a huge part of this journey that I love is learning about how the heart needs to heal in order to allow the body to heal in many cases. We went through a period where I was learning to do consultations with people, and about a dozen of them weren't responding to the protocols that I created for them. So I took some of those to our Amchi and said, "Am I missing something?" And he looked at them and looked at the information and said, "No, I would have, that's what I would have done as well." And I said, "Well, there's something that's blocking these protocols from working." And he looked at me, kind of looked off into space for a second, and came back and said, "We need to support their heart." And he began to explain to me that our hearts have their own neural network. Within that neural network, emotions and traumas can become trapped and stagnant and stuck. And when those are dealt with, they become blocks to healing in some cases. And so we created a formula to address this. It's called Healing Heart. And we tested it with those 12 people, and all of them started to respond magnificently to their protocols. And I had a huge aha moment and went, okay, well, when somebody calls or I have a consultation and they say, I spent $50,000, I've tried every modality, I've gone to every healer and nothing works. The first thing I do is ask them if there's any trauma that they've had unresolved or any relationships that have caused them, stress within their heart. And the answer almost always is yes. And when we address that, and that starts to dissolve, the physical body responds and starts to heal and regenerate much faster.
Mm. Oh, that's ethereal. And another aspect of your work is you've extensively worked with botanicals, terpenes, and vibrational medicine. So, could you walk us through how all these elements they come together in your healing formulations at Jamfa?
Yeah, I mean, our formulations, they start really with our water. We use a very specific mineral water that comes from the crystal grid in Arkansas, Mount Ida. It cascades through about 120 miles of Herkimer diamonds and celestial quartz, which are very high vibrational crystals. And so that begins the process of structuring the water before we even receive it. When we receive it, it goes into a process of different frequencies being entrained within it, like solfeggios, and that becomes the base of our formula. We use solfeggio baths and different types of frequency generators to ensure that the medicine stays at the highest vibration possible. The botanicals are really Archie's department. He's perfected his wisdom and knowledge for a long time in regards to those. And for me, it's more terpenes that have attracted me and that I've really, really expanded my knowledge base on. Terpenes are the constituents of plants that evaporate at the time of drying. And in Tibetan medicine and Ayurveda are considered the life force energy of the plant, like the spirit leaving the plant when it dies. And so in our traditional formulations that we see are available now, there aren't terpenes present, which means that the glove is being used without a hand in it to animate it, which would be the terpenes. And so we bring terpenes back into traditional botanical formulations, which in essence is breathing the life force energy back into those formulas, which brings a spiritual intelligence to the synergy of the formula that communicates with our own innate healing wisdom, allowing our bodies to dance with the medicine in the most fluent and beautiful way without any interactions, without any side effects, without any potential harm. And so it's very different to other modalities of medicine because we're working with the natural frequencies within our body, and these medicines speak the same language. And so our body is oftentimes begins dancing, like a symphony just started playing, and it can't help itself when these medicines enter because the body is now equipped with the support, wisdom, and minerals and herbs that it needs to be able to heal and regenerate itself. And at the end of the day, nothing that we create will ever heal or cure anybody. It's our own bodies that heal and cure themselves. And all we can do is awaken that wisdom and ability for our bodies to do that healing, and then support that process with the botanicals and minerals that Mother Nature has preserved and kept for us to do just that.
Oh, Trinn, so when we look into the conventional, medicines, it's like the same formulation for everyone. Bec- but because everyone's bodies are different, I mean, they are not the same. It's not one stop solution. So, how do you customize or maybe design the formulation according to the let's say the person's requirement? Do you do that, or it's like same solution for everyone?
That's been the way for Ayurveda and Tibetan medicine for a long time. They're both based on doshas or humors, which are the three different elements in the body. Um, doshas are really important and have been up until now, but these formulas, Amchi has spent an incredible amount of time and skill at making them tri-dosha balanced, which means they're effective for any body type, any humoral type. Again, that synergistic communication and intelligence that the terpenes bring to the formula really enhance the ability for the formulas to adapt and move in the direction they're needed rather than be forced into a rigid reaction or action. And so when you take one of these medicines, you're in essence giving your body 30 or 40 special forces from the natural world that have skill sets that are really unique and profound at serving your body to be able to come into alignment to heal and regenerate.
Hmm. Makes sense. Wow. And now let's bring the element of skepticism into this, because I know there will be many skeptics out there who will say that when we put too much emphasis on natural medicine, we risk discouraging people from seeking urgent or necessary clinical interventions. So, what's your take on this balance between conventional and holistic medicine?
Really, it comes down to a personal choice for the customer. We see great success with people who use Western medicine in addition to Tibetan medicine. We see great success with people using the Tibetan medicine without any Western medicine. It really comes down to a personal choice.
Mm.
Any type of phytotherapy requires time because you're not just addressing the symptoms as we do in Western medicine, but you're actually supporting the body to identify and remedy the underlying causes of the problem, of the sickness or illness or disease. And so you're enabling your body to fix itself in a nutshell, rather than practicing putting medicines into it, hoping that some group of medicines is going to bring ultimate balance and everything's going to get better. So you're in essence awakening your body's ability to heal and then giving it the support that it needs. And that can happen with Western medicine or without it. In my experience, when people are using both, they often report back that the side effects from the chemotherapy or the other treatments that they're taking have largely come down with the addition of Tibetan medicines because the Tibetan medicines help to offset those side effects.
Mhm. And another question that comes up a lot, I mean, even among most of our mindful listeners, is about the accessibility of these treatments. Because, holistic healing, especially personalized consultations, they can feel like out of reach in financial context. So, how do we begin to make this work more inclusive and available?
Yeah, we don't charge for consultations. An initial consultation is always free. People can request to have more in-depth conversations, but I'd say 99 times out of 100, that's not necessary. 15 minutes is more than enough time for me to get an idea of what you're dealing with, what you're supporting, what the potential causes of the issues are, and then to create a suggested protocol of products that you would take at different times for a period of time. The purpose of that protocol is to bring your body, your mind, and your spirit out of whatever degenerative trajectory that it's in and to establish a regenerative trajectory. Once that's accomplished, with sound lifestyle choices, eating the right foods, some meditation, being out in nature, that healing trajectory can continue in most cases without needing medicines for a long time. And so part of what our goal has been is to really remove ourselves from the revolving door paradigm and allow people to get into that trajectory of healing and then to give them the information that they need to continue it without having to keep buying products from us. And so, that's one of our biggest challenges as a business is we're not a revolving door. We don't rely on repeat customers. We rely on people sharing their healing experiences with their loved ones and family members, and that then naturally gravitating them towards learning more for themselves. And that's really been how we've grown as a company for the last 5 years.
Mm. Wow, that is lovely. That is lovely. Really encouraging trends. So, finally, if our listeners would like to connect with you and also explore Jamfa, how they can do that.
Yeah, you can visit our website, which is jampa.com, jampha.com. You can also book a free consultation, which will be with me, and that consultation page address is heal.me/Jampa. We have a toll-free number that you can call from anywhere in the world, and we'll be happy to support you that way. You can also email us at love@jampa.com. We usually respond to support requests within a few hours.
Great. I'll make sure to have all the links and details included in the show notes. And Trin, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, of course, your journey, your work, they're so inspiring, not just because of what you have overcome, but I believe because of how you have chosen to turn that pain into purpose. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. I've appreciated our time together.
And to all of our listeners, if something in today's episode sparked something in you, pause, take a small break, reflect. Maybe today is the day you take that one small step towards healing. And you can connect with Trin, also get access to his personalized consultations. Just refer to the show notes along with this episode. And until next time, stay gentle with yourself, stay curious, and as always, stay mindful. Thank you.